What's going on, everybody? Noah from PhoneDog.com here. And, over the past couple of weeks, my inbox has been flooded with questions from all of you crazy Verizon text addicts. Seriously, it's variations on the same question over and over again. Which phone's better, EnV2 or Glide? EnV2 or Alias? Glide or Alias? Glide or Voyager? EnV2 or Voyager? Which phone should I get? Which one's better? Could you do a video comparing this one, that one, etc., etc.? I understand. There's all of a sudden a bunch of new phones. There are now, what, 4 VCAST messaging phones on Verizon? There's Voyager, there's Glide, there's EnV2, there's Alias. You can still get the original EnV, I think. So, you've got, depending on how you look at it, 4 or 5 full QWERTY messaging phones to choose from. And that's not even counting all the smartphones and the BlackBerry and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm here for you. We already did, by request, we did a video comparing Glide to EnV2. Of course, we've done a bunch of videos on Glide and a couple of videos on EnV2 as well, and there's lots more over on PhoneDog.com. Now, by request, another comparison. It's EnV2 versus Alias. The LG EnV2, the Samsung Alias, they're both VCAST messaging phones for Verizon. Both have full QWERTY keyboards. We're going to do a little comparison right here. You can get much more on both phones on PhoneDog.com. There's also a full review of the U740, which is what Alias was before they did a few minor adjustments and gave it the name Alias. That video is already up, so you can get that on PhoneDog.com, or you can search for it right here. So if you want the full review, check that out. But here's a comparison. So basically, there are two main kinds of differences between these two phones. The first most obvious one is the form factor. EnV2 is a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier than Alias. If you look at the specs online, you can see by the measurements. If you hold them in your hand, it's definitely apparent. EnV2 is definitely bigger and heavier. It's also, the corners are a little more, I don't know, they're a little kind of thicker and more pointy. I mean, they're rounded, but you feel them in your hand. Alias kind of just, it fits in your hand. It's not quite as noticeable. This one, it's not a brick like the original EnV, but you definitely know it's there. Alias is just a little bit thinner, a little bit easier to hold on to. It definitely slips into your pocket a little bit more easily. The second big difference is the way that they open and the way you hold them when you're using them. Alias is a dual flip phone. So it flips open this way, and you dial using the keypad. You can see they've made one change from the original U740 is they made the dialing keys white, or half white, so you can see it more easily. And then when you want to go into the other mode and do messaging and stuff, the phone flips open this way, and then you can, I've heard people call it like a mini laptop. So then you've got your QWERTY layout and your D-pad and everything like that. And then this adjusts. The EnV2, when you're using it to talk, it's a regular candy bar phone. And it's got an external keypad. You can dial from the outside. You can actually text from the outside. On the Alias, you can't dial or text from the outside. You can control music and get updates, but you can't actually write a text message. EnV2, you hold it this way to use as a phone or to use the outside keypad. And then it opens, similarly to the Alias, it opens the long way. You get to your QWERTY. And also, you can flip it all the way back or hold it more like that. So here's the two of them compared when they're both open. In terms of form factor, I gotta say I like the Alias a little bit better just because it's a little bit sleeker, a little bit thinner, fits in your pocket a little more easily, a little more comfortable to hold. The keypad, if you do a lot of texting, it's definitely smaller. But I don't have any problem with it. It works fine for me. That being said, it's not quite as nice and comfortable as EnV2. EnV2 is just bigger. There's more room, easier to get your thumbs around and everything. But honestly, for me, they both work. The keyboard is definitely an area that you're going to have to try for yourself. Some people, personal preferences, are going to think Alias, maybe the buttons are a little too small and crowded. Some people, are going to say, honestly, they both work, but EnV2 is so much bigger, I'll just go for Alias. So if you can, get your hands on one, go to the store, borrow one from a friend, try it out for yourself, especially if you do a lot of texting. All right, the second area where the phones differ is in terms of their features. Now, they're both VCAST phones. You can do music, you can do video, you can do mobile IM, you can do text messaging, you can do MMS messaging, you can do mobile email, all that stuff. They both have what Verizon calls mobile web 2.0. It's not full HTML browsing like the Voyager or the Glide, but you can get to their mobile websites like a WAP browser on both of them. They both have GPS, so you can do Verizon VZ Navigator. They both have a camera. Alias has a 1.3 megapixel camera with a flash. EnV2 has a 2 megapixel camera but no flash. Both of them, the cameras are honestly kind of mediocre. I'd give a little edge to Alias because it does have a flash, which isn't a great flash, but it could be handy if you're taking pictures in the dark. The megapixel difference isn't that big of a deal to me. They both have stereo speakers on the inside. You can see next to the screen, they both have the speakers. One area where EnV2 has an advantage, though, is it has stereo Bluetooth. The Alias does not. They both can use wired headsets for listening to music, but only EnV2 does stereo Bluetooth. Second advantage is in terms of the display. EnV2 has a full, even though the displays are roughly the same size, EnV2 has a full QVGA display, while Alias is, I believe it's 220 by 176. It's a lower resolution display. So if you're looking at a lot of pictures, watching a lot of videos, the quality is going to be better on EnV2. So that's definitely the stereo Bluetooth and the display quality. If you're into multimedia, you listen to a lot of music, you have wireless headphones, or you watch a lot of videos and you care about the best resolution possible, EnV2 definitely has the advantage there. Aside from that, honestly, I think it's a matter of personal preference. If you're getting a phone, one other thing is the call quality. I didn't have any problems with either. They're both pretty good. They're not the best I've ever heard, but I didn't have any problems. I have heard several people, both directly to me and I've seen around the web, complaining about call quality on the EnV2. I've heard there's signal problems. I've also heard people complain about the quality of the actual sound. They get a signal, they can make calls, but the sound isn't good. Again, I've had no problems using this phone. It sounds fine. Signal strength is good, but be aware there are some reports of that. I haven't heard any reports like that on the Alias. That doesn't mean it's perfect. So take that for what you will. Anyway, to sum up, if it was me, I don't know. It's a tough call. I use the web a lot on my phone, so I probably wouldn't get either of these because they don't have a real web browser. That being said, for what they do for messaging, I'd be tempted to go with the Alias because it's smaller, it's lighter, and for texting, it's fine. But if you want a phone that can kind of do it all and you don't mind the size, EnV2 definitely is a little bit more advanced. It has better screen resolution, stereo Bluetooth, and a little bit bigger of a keyboard. Again, you got to try them out for yourself. Get your hands on them, try them for yourself. Price-wise, EnV2 is a little more expensive, but if you look on PhoneDog.com, you might be able to find a good deal. All right, till next time, keep all the questions coming. Thanks for watching. I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. We'll see you later.